everybody, welcome to Storytime with Wade. Today we're reading 48 Grasshopper Estates, written by Sara Waal, illustrated by Erika, Medina. And I just want to let you know this is written by a Canadian author. Hope you enjoy.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, guys. And let's jump right in. 48 Grasshopper Estates. Sicily Bridges lived at 48 Grasshopper Estates. In all her years there, she had never seen one grasshopper, or, come to think of it, any grass. That was all right with Sicily. She could make them herself. Sicily Bridges could make almost anything. When she needed a snack, she made chocolate chunk cookies with mint swirls. When it was too quiet, she invented a trumpet. When she was scared, she created a dragon with 7 tails that could terrify even the most fearsome closet monster. And just in case that didn't work, she knew how to make a getaway boat that could sail right across the ocean. Well, sort of. On Thursday morning, Sicily's mom tiptoed to the side of her bed. Skirt swish, forehead kiss, and off to work she went. Soon the smell of Mrs. Rubenstein's oatmeal came wafting in, and with it came ideas. A lake submarine, a unicorn castle painted aqua and pink. And best of all, a spaceship that could take her to Mars with a built-in supersonic sandwich maker, of course. They were splendid ideas, and as the sun rose, Sicily jotted each one down in her notebook. At 7 o'clock came a knock at the door. Rat-a-tat-tat, tat-a-rat-a, rat-a-tat. What will you make today? Asked Mrs. Rubenstein. Sicily scanned her list. Lake submarines were on the small side, but they still needed at least 2 crew members. A unicorn castle would be spectacular, but how would she defend it all by herself? And a supersonic sandwich maker would be perfect for her trip to Mars, but even she might need help eating all those sandwiches. Sicily added one more thing to the list. An excellent choice, said Mrs. Rubenstein, and she left Sicily Bridges to her work. Sicily made a fuzzy friend, a freckled speckled friend, and a friend with 4 very fine toes. She gave one friend suspenders for his 2 big pants, and for another she made glasses that were as red and round as Mars itself. Sicily made a friend with ears so big he could hear snails talking at the bottom of the ocean. Well, sort of. At 12:30 came a knock at the door. Rat-a-tat-tat, tat-a-rat-a, rat-a-tat. Have you made a friend? Asked Mrs. Rubenstein. Several, said Sicily. Would they like some sandwiches? Asked Mrs. Rubenstein. You know, it's the strangest thing, said Sicily. These friends all prefer soup, but I'll take a peanut butter and cheese if you don't mind. An excellent choice, said Mrs. Rubenstein, and she left Sicily Bridges to her work. Sicily gathered and sorted and painted and glued. She made a checkered friend and a polka-dotted friend and a friend with 3 perfectly placed ponytails. For one friend, she made a ruby-rimmed crown, and for another, she made a hat as yellow as a field of sunflowers. Sicily made a friend with arms so long he could water flowers on the moon. Well, sort of. At 2 o'clock came a knock at the door. Rat-a-tat-tat, tat-a-rat-a, rat-a-tat. What wonderful friends you have made, said Mrs. Rubenstein. But Sicily only sighed. They'll never make it to Mars, she said. They are all afraid of heights. Oh dear, said Mrs. Rubenstein. Do you think we ought to bring them down to the 1st floor? It's no use, said Sicily. Maybe none of these friends are good friends for me. She joined Mrs. Rubenstein at the window and peered down. There, on his balcony, was Mr. Clipper. of apartment 8 wearing his pajamas and eating a bowl of soup, said Sicily. Suddenly, she knew just what to do. Rat-a-tat-tat, tat-a-rat-a, rat-a-tat. The door creaked open. What do you want? Growled Mr. Clipper. Would you like a friend? Asked Sicily. A what? Asked Mr. Clipper. Cicely picked up the friend with glasses. A friend, she repeated. Mr. Clipper frowned. Does he like tomato soup? I'm afraid that's all he eats, says Cicely. Well then, said Mr. Clipper. He tucked the friend with glasses under one arm and firmly closed the door. A perfect fit, said Mrs. Rubenstein. For the rest of the afternoon, Sicily Bridges delivered friends to the residents of Grasshopper Estates, and Mrs. Rubenstein helped. It turned out Mr. Corbin knew a thing or two about suspenders, and Mr. Driscoll had need of a friend with big ears. To Mrs. Stelpstra they gave the freckled-speckled friend, and when Mrs. Stavropoulos caught sight of a certain yellow hat, she was reminded of a field of sunflowers. Mr. Boxham's window box was not as far away as the moon, but the long-armed friend was a first-rate flower waterer all the same. Well, sort of. In no time at all, the cart was empty, and Cicely felt a bit empty too. Rat-a-tat-tat, tat-a-rat-a, rat-a-tat. There, on the other side of the door, stood a boy with very striped socks. Pardon me, said Cicely, but are you going to space? I was planning to, said the boy, but I'm afraid my blaster offer is broken. I just might have an extra one of those, said Cicely. Where exactly are you going? Mars, said the boy. An excellent choice, said Mrs. Rubenstein. Do you have room for one more? It was the perfect fit. Well, sort of. The end. What a lovely story. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.